Story 1. Retiring from the corporate world and getting a job at a dog daycare. I play with puppies all day now. After my husband died suddenly, I just couldn't deal with the corporate world anymore. My dogs come to work with me, and I am greeted by the unconditional love of 40 dogs every day. Best therapy ever. Story 2. Not caring about work may sound bad, but I still take pride in my work. I don't rush anymore because of poor planning by others. I have a stress-free attitude now. I have accumulated enough money that can support my family for just over a year if needed. I have adopted a 75 to 80% workload instead of the 100% that a project manager wanted. The rest of the time is for phone calls, reviewing work, and organizing information so I don't have to look it up or learn something new repeatedly. I am amazed at how well this works and how much more productive I am compared to rushing, making mistakes, and stressing over deadlines. I had a few threats earlier, but now I am left alone to do my job. Story 3. Stop thinking only about others. As a child, I wanted to help all people around me, but when I became old enough, I understood that I needed to think about myself as well. I hope this will be good advice for someone to always remember to take care of themselves too. Story 4. Massively reducing my dependence on material possessions, downsizing my ownership of belongings, and being more grateful for the few things I own. Story 5. I quit smoking marijuana. I was smoking a large amount. For a long time it was helpful, but eventually it started working against me. It fed my depression and dragged me further down. I smoked for 13 years. Story 6. Eating healthier by avoiding fast food and processed food, and spending time at the gym daily. It is amazing how many parts of your life this affects. Story 7. Showing gratitude is not about God or religion. Create your own spirituality. I take from religions and do what I want in life. The most important lesson I have learned is that I may not be able to save the world, but I can make my corner of it better. I am grateful I have a job that lets me meet people. I am grateful for my apartment. I am grateful for the food I cook and eat. I am grateful for the people I meet and for learning about their stories and perspectives. I am grateful for my health and, if a little vain, my appearance. I am happy I have the confidence I wished for as a child to make friends and lovers alike. I am grateful for the music and art I get to experience every day. Every little detail, even the bad experiences, is an opportunity to learn and relax. Good times nor bad times last forever. There is a book I read called Forget It by John C. Parkin that really taught me to let go of many things beyond my control and to think more clearly about my intentions in life. Story 8. Trigger warning for surgery. I have a severe skin condition. I had both armpits surgically removed a couple of years ago. The affected skin was completely excised and sewn back together. I have hidradenitis suppurativa. Before surgery, I was unable to lift my arms above chest level, reach behind me, or pick anything up. Even a slight stretch could break open sores and sinus tracts that I was covered with. Every break, split, or slight injury caused more sores and sinus tracts. It mainly occurs in hot spots like the armpits, groin, and under the breasts, but it also appears on my scalp. I take a significant amount of medication that suppresses my immune system to help with the excessive swelling and abnormal healing my body experiences. I was mostly immobile and severely overweight because of it. I endured constant searing pain and fought major infections for years. Having my armpits surgically removed was life-changing. I now have full range of motion and I regularly go to the gym. I have lost over 50 pounds. I no longer constantly battle major infections in that area, which has definitely improved my overall well-being. The condition will never completely go away, and I will always have to manage my hidradenitis suppurativa, but not having hair in my armpits or dealing with strong body odor after intense workouts is a distinct benefit. Story 9. Accept your situation as it is and work towards change without relying on others, even if they should have been your support. Story 10. I sold my house and moved into an apartment a few years ago. No more yard work, no more high-cost home repairs, or hours spent fixing things around the house. My children are grown. I do not need the extra space. I have a nice little deck, and I grill at the clubhouse. Story 11. This may be trivial, but wireless headphones provide the ability to call, receive or decline calls, change music, and move my head around without snagging. It was unreal to me. I did not even know what I was missing. Story 12. Setting boundaries without guilt gave me peace, better relationships, and much more energy than I ever expected. I wish I had learned this in my 20s. Story 13. Gym. Eating real food. Realizing my job is just a job. If I leave or get fired, there are plenty of other jobs available. I do not instantly become homeless or die because I leave a job I do not like. Story 14. Honestly, cutting off toxic people is important. I used to think I had to hold on to every friendship just because of how long I had known someone or out of guilt. But the truth is, not everyone is your friend, and that is okay. Once I stopped forcing connections and started focusing on the people who actually bring value and peace into my life, things got so much better. I would rather have a small circle of real friends than be surrounded by fake energy. When you are lying in bed going through something and have no one to actually talk to about it, it gives you a clear picture of what is real. So quality over quantity, always. Story 15. Slowing down, not rushing. I am a professional writer and business owner in the United Kingdom. For the past 5 years, I have always been in a rush, forgetting things, treating people and tasks like tick box exercises, feeling anxious and exhausted, getting home and mindlessly looking at screens. In January, I had enough. I had dinner with a friend who said, "The root of many people's troubles is rushing." It really hit me, so I slowed down, enjoyed what I was doing, whether it was walking the dog, writing, talking to someone, or just relaxing at home. And it has made me so much happier. Not richer or wiser, just happier. Story 16. Got a new job. I spent 25 years at the same company. It took one visit to my new employer to realize how different things could be. Story 17. My first thought was really soft towels, and then I read all these very profound responses, but soft towels feel amazing. Story 18. Leaving toxic or negative friends. My life became much happier and easier, and I am more confident without their constant negativity. Story 19. If it takes 10 minutes or less, do the task immediately. You will be surprised at how much you accomplish and how appreciative the people in your life will be. Do not say, "I will do it later." Get up and do the task now. Story 20. Getting my spending under control. I was living paycheck to paycheck and miserable because I never had money to travel or go out. I started budgeting, which gave me the confidence to switch to a higher-paying job. I began to realize how much money I was wasting on unnecessary things and went from living paycheck to paycheck to having a couple $1,000s in the bank. Inflation has made it more difficult to keep my budget balanced, but if I had not taken the time to budget before, there is no way we would be financially stable right now. Story 21. Therapy, establishing boundaries, and cutting out toxic people. Coming from a broken home and a difficult childhood, I did not realize how bad things were until a good friend at the time pointed out things I did not see or understand. I had sessions once, twice, sometimes 3 times a week until my therapist retired about a year later. They were amazing in supporting the self-work I had done and continue to do every day. During therapy, I learned that I was allowed to have boundaries, which has made me much happier and safer. Finally, I cut out toxic people and usually avoid them altogether. My peace is paramount. If something affects my peace, it goes out the door. Story 22. As strange as it sounds, I began saving for retirement in my late 20s. At that time, I was saving a lot of money because I had fewer expenses and more money to set aside. I'm glad I did that. I'm also glad I have taken care of my car and my clothes and bags because they have become more expensive in the past 5 years. Basically, take care of yourself and save money in the earlier part of your life and maintain your car. It will pay off later. Story 23. When I started being honest with my past about being a pathological liar when I was younger, I felt like I became real after that. Story 24. I stopped going outside to socialize and started isolating myself at home. Since then, I have improved my cooking and house cleaning, and I am mostly stress-free. Who knew being a shut-in was beneficial? Story 25. 4 years. I thought I was just not a morning person. I would wake up 10 minutes before work, barely functioning, slam caffeine, and feel like I was chasing the day from the second I opened my eyes. Always late, always stressed, always tired. Then one morning, after a rough night and no sleep, I just got up at 5 a.m. No reason. I sat on my porch in total silence, watching the sun come up with a blanket and some poor instant coffee. For the first time in a long time, I felt calm. Not happy, not productive, just okay. Like my brain had room to breathe. That one morning turned into a habit. I wake up early now on purpose. Not to hustle, not to grind, just to exist before the noise starts. Honestly, it feels like I have been stealing time back from the universe. Story 26. Listening to my intuition and avoiding negative people. My life would have been very different if I had started listening to my intuition sooner. Story 27. Regular exercise. I finally decided that it is better to exercise a little bit instead of never, and it has significantly improved my life. Story 28. Seeing a guitar instructor greatly improved my playing after years of being self-taught. Keeps me more motivated and disciplined. Playing an instrument is a gift, very fun and relaxing. Story 29. I began my healing journey by joining a 12-step program called Adult Children of Alcoholics. I am still healing from childhood trauma 40 years later, but I feel a bit jealous when I meet a young person who started earlier. Story 30. Finding a surgeon who would perform a hysterectomy. In general, advocating for myself in doctors' offices to get the tests and treatments I needed. Story 31. I cut out the toxic people in my life. Unfortunately, this meant some family members. I spent enormous amounts of time and energy only to have them spit in my face or ignore me. Surround yourself with people that you love and respect. Keep your door open and welcome others, but do not give in to toxic personalities. Story 32. I got rid of material things that added nothing to my life. No more hoarding stuff to the point where I am overwhelmed in every room I walk into. I am not perfect, but it is a lot better now that I am actively trying and self-aware. I think the hoarding started when my grandmother died. I inherited many things, and over the years, after several moves, it became harder to live with. I am talking about clothes. We were the same size, shoes, jewelry, pots, and pans. I felt like if I threw them away or donated them, I was throwing her away, so I kept holding on to them. Now I am in therapy, and I have let things go to a good home. Those items do not define my love for her, and they should not hold me back anymore. I am free to remember her whenever I want, and I smile when I do. Story 33. Rescuing a dog. He is the light of my life, and I am so glad he was saved from the brink of euthanasia. I would like to foster more rescues someday. Story 34. Diaphragmatic breathing. I have severe generalized anxiety disorder since age 12 and had been breathing shallowly for years. I learned how to switch to diaphragmatic breathing a few months ago, and my quality of life has improved a lot. I feel less anxious and I am not in fight or flight mode all the time. I can now react to changes more calmly. I still overthink sometimes, but it is much easier now to set things aside or let things go. Story 35. I worked for many years in Michigan as a healthcare worker making $25 to $30 an hour. I moved to California before the pandemic and now make $70 an hour doing the same job. It might not seem like a lot, but that money in just 5 years has been life-changing for me and allowed me to become a millionaire with significant net worth. The house I bought in San Diego has appreciated by $450,000 since I purchased it in 2022. I fully maximized my 403(b) retirement fund, contributing $24,000. I drive an $80,000 BMW convertible. The biggest difference is overtime shifts now pay me $105 an hour instead of $45 an hour in Michigan, which greatly amplifies the difference in pay. I went from a struggling middle-class worker to living the lifestyle of a mass affluent millionaire in just 5 years by simply moving locations and doing exactly the same job. Story 36. Stopped being a people pleaser, got comfortable with the discomfort of confrontation, and confronted family members about decades of mistreatment. It did not go well, and I am kind of glad. It gave me solid reasoning to let go of the last two family members I was still in touch with. This is looking like the beginning of an extremely peaceful era of my life. Story 37. The only thing I can control is myself, and I cannot control outcomes. I used to try to change and control situations and people with the best intentions. I would get upset about politics and what other people do. It made me anxious. I blamed myself when things went wrong. Now I focus on what I do. I try to do the next right thing. I strive to be kind and help when I can. I realize I cannot control outcomes, only my actions. This has greatly increased my sense of peace. Story 38. Stop taking things personally. Assume when people are rude, insulting, or insensitive, they have their own problems and are taking it out on you. Be aware of doing the same to others. Story 39. Stop drinking soft drinks or sodas. I know it seems obvious. I stopped to lose weight, which I did, but the other benefits have been surprisingly positive. I cannot believe how many other ailments I had that disappeared after a month of switching to water. I cannot recommend it enough. Do not wait until you are older like me. Story 40. I went no contact with my mother and, by extension, her entire family. I did not realize that every single bit of drama I had in my life as an adult was because of something one of them had done or said. They are mean, messy, and trashy people, and my life is so peaceful without them. I like the quiet. Story 41. Leaving my band and no longer making music was not my whole personality. I had a good reason to leave, and I am still good with most of the guys. It was only after some months had passed that I realized how music had utterly consumed my life and how thankful I was that my wife and kids tolerated it. It was like a breath of fresh air for them, and my kids were so happy to have a regular dad. I had invested all my skills into music, so I was afraid to just drop it. But once you empty yourself a little and allow new experiences in, you begin to see why you needed the change. Story 42. I always heard from older people to stretch before going to my trade job or the gym. I injured myself badly because of it, but I am slowly recovering. Stretching my muscles before work makes me feel like a different person, and I do not injure myself or pull a muscle so easily. Story 43. Taking a migraine or headache preventative. I spent 20 years with regular headaches and migraines, and now I get very few. Story 44. Quit caffeine. It completely removed my anxiety and greatly improved my sleep. I was only drinking 1 cup of coffee each morning and occasionally drinking tea or eating chocolate. Story 45. Eating 1 big meal a day at lunch and nothing after 7 p.m. I lost belly fat quickly by cutting out all soft drinks, juice, and drinking lemon water with ice. Story 46. LASIK eye surgery. Before, 24/50 vision. After, 20/15 vision. Also, saved significant money in the 25 years since on glasses and contact lenses. Story 47. Hot yoga and meditation combined with heat truly help me get in the moment and relax. It has helped me deal with stress significantly. The breathing techniques I have learned from it and the benefits of stretching are remarkable. Story 48. Adding banana to my oatmeal is the best life-changing discovery I have made. Cooked bananas are so amazing that I do not eat them raw anymore. When you microwave them, they are creamy like butter and have a sweeter taste. 10 out of 10 changed my life. Story 49. I stopped allowing things to live rent-free in my head. I started this about 2 years ago, and I have never been more at peace. Story 50. I no longer drink in excess. I never realized how much I was drinking until I started taking medications that prevented me from consuming alcohol. Even a couple of drinks in the evening were affecting my sleep so much. I now sleep soundly and feel well rested in the morning. It has changed my whole life, waking up fresh and focused every day. Story 51. Quit drinking alcohol. I stopped for 30 days, felt great, and wanted to keep going. I went to 6 months, felt good, but wanted to see if I could moderate my drinking. I started drinking again for a few months over the holidays and into the new year, and just felt terrible again, so I stopped. It has now been about 16 months, and I do not plan to go back. Everything has improved across the board, from health to relationships. Story 52. Do not neglect your responsibilities at work. Work diligently while there, complete your tasks, and move on. Go home and leave work behind. Story 53. Making more money. I highly recommend it. I can still remember waiting in line for government cheese and watching my mother tear the stamps out of her food stamp booklet. Now I am making six figures without a college degree in a two-income household. Story 54. Standing outside for about 5 minutes a day in the sun, I almost immediately feel good and get a lot of energy, which for me is just enough to do the next thing I want to do. It's like a reset. Story 55. I had a breast reduction. Even my plantar fasciitis went away, and so did almost everything else that was ailing me. My mental state has improved completely. I just wish I had done it sooner. Story 56. Carpal tunnel surgery. I had carpal tunnel syndrome since my teens. I did not have the surgery until I was 30. My hands no longer go numb when I brush my teeth, ride a bicycle, or hold my dog's leash. Story 57. Eating healthier includes lots of spinach, beets, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, pistachios, and watermelon twice a day. I eat chicken, salmon, or tuna. I have one normal meal a day and then only a salad a few hours later. I never eat fried food. I stretch every morning, which I used to think was a waste of time. I spend 45 minutes in the gym. Story 58. Working 4 days a week instead of 5. I do not get burnt out anymore, and my quality of life is much better. Story 59. When I was properly diagnosed with my autoimmune disease, inflammation decreased, pain diminished, and I can move better. Story 60. Daily turmeric supplement for my arthritis. I went 7 years with terrible full-body inflammation. Literally 2 days into taking 1,500 milligrams of turmeric absolutely changed my life. I could squat and get back up with no problem. I woke up and could move my fingers immediately. My hips and elbows were not in pain. I have my life back. Story 61. Finding a gynecologist who took the time to figure out why I had such painful, heavy, debilitating periods. It turned out my uterus was filled with fibroids, polyps, and cysts. Once they were surgically removed, my entire life changed. I went from living with level 6 pain daily, jumping to level 10 pain during my period with fevers, achy skin, and migraines. I am allergic to over-the-counter painkillers. Now, I forget I have my period because I don't experience cramps the same way anymore. At most, level 2 pain. I still think about what life could have been if my family and previous doctors had taken my discomfort and pain seriously. I am much happier now. Story 62. Realizing that your mind giving you old memories as screenshots in the middle of the day is not to drum up regrets, feelings of doubt, revenge, or what have you. That moment you felt is the last time you saw an ex in person. That fun memory of a friend who is no longer in your life. That night you cried your eyes out for whatever reason. The good, the bad, the ugly. They are there to remind you of successes, mistakes, who supported you and who did not help you reach your goals. They are your brain giving you comfort food in moments of uncertainty, weakness, and involuntary lapses of judgment. Not baggage to make your day worse. Story 63. Rucking involves carrying a heavy bag near the front door, and whenever I leave the house, I put it on. I enjoy walking as it is a relaxing exercise, and carrying an additional 15 kilograms on my back provides significantly more benefits. I would suggest everyone try this. Story 64. Eating while working on the clock improves my efficiency and agility during manual labor compared to eating a large meal beforehand. It also reduces bloating, which can be distracting. Story 65. Riding my bike to work. I lived only 4.5 kilometers from work, but for 14 years drove and hated it. Then, during bike to work day, I took a vacation day and biked to Toronto City Hall. I got a city cycling map, studied it, and found a safe route to cycle to work. I did it for 3 years year-round until I retired. Story 66. Heavily reducing my alcohol consumption. My mood has improved significantly, and I am saving a lot of money. I cannot believe how much I was spending each week on alcohol and going out. Story 67. Using an electric epilator with tweezers instead of shaving is a total game changer, especially for underarms. It can hurt a lot, especially in sensitive areas, but the results are completely worth it. You get smoother skin, no razor bumps, and the hair takes much longer to grow back. Try it once and you will never look at a razor the same way again. Story 68. Starting therapy again. I go weekly and it makes a world of difference, especially when you find someone you connect with. Story 69. Got sober. I can think clearly. I am saving money. I am not angry or depressed. I eat better and sleep better. I have a much better job. I care more about little things. Nobody says it is easy, but I was ready. I have no urge or desire to drink ever again. I hit bottom and bounced 3 times. I did not get sober the first or second time, but I am 4 years sober now and life is good. Story 70. 6 a.m. exercise class. I never could bring myself to exercise in the evenings. Now I do it before work and get it out of the way. Story 71. Being grateful and content with what I have at the moment while working for what I want to have in the future keeps my life in balance. Story 72. Working out consistently, taking care of my body, and watching what I eat. Don't get me wrong, I eat fun and unhealthy food occasionally, but it is all about consistency. Story 73. Continuous positive airway pressure. I'm not overweight or obese, but I've been told I snore a lot. I had a sleep study done, was fitted with a nasal continuous positive airway pressure device, and now I can breathe properly while sleeping. Story 74. I set 15-minute time limits on social media. Once I have reached 15 minutes, the app closes. I have to enter a PIN if I want more time. This has helped me quit doom scrolling and absent-mindedly checking social media anytime I have a spare moment. Not getting a daily onslaught of news and opinions has improved my mental health. If I do feel the need for a little screen time, I do word puzzles on the New York Times game app. Story 75. It really depends. From a strength and aesthetic standpoint, maybe 3 months. But something as simple as cutting salty snacks can make you feel less bloated in a few weeks. Story 76. Being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Choosing what is best for me when I know it is something I am terrified to do. I am about to speak in front of 300 people in August for an event, and I am terrified, but I agreed to it knowing I would be. Story 77. Hiring a housekeeper has improved my mental health substantially. Instead of walking around the house on my days off thinking about all the things I need to do, I walk around my house and my brain is quiet. My husband is not an equal partner in household tasks. So now our relationship feels much more balanced because I am not the one taking care of everything inside the house. Story 78. Psilocybin-assisted therapy was like a year of therapy in a day. I have treatment-resistant depression, and one session literally cured me. Story 79. I gave up cigarettes and then, a few years later, I gave up alcohol. Both were game-changing victories. Story 80. Eating less and weighing less. I used to overeat because I loved food so much. Now I am able to control myself and have lost 25 pounds. I feel much better. Story 81. Quit drinking. Healthier, happier, clear-minded, conscious decisions. Just all around the best decision I have ever made for myself. Story 82. Stretching in the morning is important. I do not mean a lazy toe touch and shoulder pull, nor a full yoga session. Sitting all day in an office, you will be amazed at what regularly stretching your core, hips, and chest can do for you. It improves posture, reduces passive muscle tension, and helps you feel more positive throughout the day. It is also a nice way to wake up in the morning. I highly recommend it. It is never too late or too early to start the habit. Story 83. Fasting, both intermittent and extended. I eat for 8 hours a day and fast for 16 hours. Occasionally, I will do a 36 to 48 hour fast. By creating a calorie deficit, the pounds started coming off. Not only that, but my body began craving healthier foods, making it easier to choose salad over breadsticks. Story 84. Reducing the amount of gluten I consume eliminates constant indigestion and routine prolonged illnesses. Story 85. identifying and removing negative people from my life. I went from having friends everywhere, I went to just a few friends in a couple of years. My mental health, energy, and perception of life are so much better now. I also started limiting the news I consume to 30 minutes a day. Sometimes I only watch the weather. Story 86. I have found that when I am trying to fall asleep, I need to listen to brown noise. Otherwise, there is a high chance I will have insomnia for hours. Story 87. I stopped predicting things as much as possible. Imagining scenarios by applying various permutations and combinations was draining my energy. Story 88. After 25 years, I left surgery. The stress and physical toll it took on my body was horrible for me. It took me a long time because I had put so much time into it, which made it harder to give it all up. I miss it, but my mental health is so much better. Story 89. I view everyone as less than me. Therefore, they have to earn my loyalty or my help. It is much healthier than struggling to find a reason to say no. Story 90. I quit smoking, then I quit vaping, and then I quit nicotine gum. I do not really feel any different, but the amount of money I have saved over the course of this last year has been staggering. Story 91. Sleeping with a pillow under my thighs when lying on my back and between my thighs or knees when lying on my side is incredibly helpful for lower back pain. Story 92. Proper stretching every day to start your day. Trust me, it will drastically change how your body and energy feel throughout the day. Story 93. Budgeting and tracking every dollar was like getting the biggest raise of my life, and it just keeps giving. Story 94. I used to always wake up in the middle of the night with a dry mouth. I always kept water bottles within reach and frequently needed to urinate. It felt like a series of restless, frustrating, brief naps from night to morning. I also had very loud and unpleasant snoring. As a result, I was always fatigued during the day. Turns out I had sleep apnea. Thank you, continuous positive airway pressure therapy. Changed my life. Story 95. Living a proper human life involves exercise, minimal use of technology, veganism, sunshine, Buddhism, and a rejection of materialism as much as possible. Story 96. I got an automatic litter box for my cats when I was living in a second-floor apartment. One of my cats urinates a lot because he was neutered late, and I had to empty the entire litter box almost every day due to how saturated the litter became, no matter how much I sifted it. I have a bad back, so it was really hard to lean down and scoop constantly, and the bags were very heavy to carry to the dumpster. I finally decided to order a litter robot, and it literally changed my life. It automatically scoops the litter 10 minutes after a cat uses it, so there is no odor, and I don't have to scoop it myself anymore. All I have to do is change the dirty bag once a week and completely replace the litter once a month. Story 97. Becoming a runner. I get injured more, but I am consistently active for the first time in my life. It is also very satisfying to run races, and they keep me motivated to run on days I do not want to. Story 98. Quit drinking and started exercising regularly. Over 4 years sober, and I am the happiest and healthiest I have ever been. Story 99. Being narcissistic and honestly just not caring. Also having the you only live once mindset. We will not always be young and free forever. Story 100. Getting a mattress topper. I did not have money for a new mattress, and the springs were sticking into my back, but I did not realize how much it was affecting my sleep until I got the topper. I have had more energy in the past month than in the last 3 years combined. Story 101. For the past few weeks, I have taken care of my sleep schedule. My internal clock feels completely different during the day and night. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.